Okay. All right. So we are so excited that you guys could hop on tonight. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening. Myself and Jennifer and Jenny and Andy are part of a group of people that are trying to take healthy back in simple and doable and fun ways as a part of a community, which is always better when we do things together, right? And so tonight we're going to go through just a little bit of education about where we're at, and hopefully you're going to learn quite a bit, and then we're going to talk a little bit about a solution that we have all found that we're super excited about. So the first thing I want to share with you is just where we are finding ourselves right now. And my little thing takes a little bit of time. Every once in a while it gets stuck, so we're just going to push it. All right. There it is. So there are two startling trends in our world today. And the first one is that environmental toxins are on the rise. And I kind of am going to date myself. I don't know how old everybody is on the call, but when I was a girl, Madonna was queen, and she was singing a song called Material World, and she was a material girl. And I think if we sang that same song now, we would have to sing it a little differently, that we are living in a chemical world, okay? Still material, but we can also have chemicals to it. So we have chemicals everywhere, and we are carrying a toxic load like nobody else has ever carried. We have toxins in our air, what we're breathing. We have toxins in our water, what we're drinking. We have toxins in our food. We have toxins in the lotions and shampoos that we are putting on our skin, which is our largest organ and is taking in everything that we put on our body. So those are on the increase, and at the same time, unfortunately, our food quality is decreasing. So this gentleman's in the store, he's perusing the middle of the grocery store, which kind of be a scary sort of place, because all of those choices, many of them are actually not even food. They're food-like products. And because they're food-like products, they're going to have all kinds of things in them. And the things that you see there on the screen, preservatives, flavor enhancers, emulsifiers, you guys can read, but that's what's in there. And I know when I started my health journey about 18 years ago, somebody told me something that's always stuck with me, that two things, you should shop the perimeter of your store because that is where most real foods are. And second of all, if you believe that your grandmother would not recognize the food that you're purchasing, then you probably don't want to buy it because it's probably not real food. And the other shift that I began making was when I was always, label. I was always looking at labels, but I was always looking at calories. So I grew up in the era of low fat, okay? It was the 80s, and low fat was all about it. Snackwell cookies, anybody? Those were released when I was in grade school. And my mom bought them, and they were low fat, so what? We could eat like 30 of them and feel okay, I guess. But if you would look at the label on the Snackwell, it was like this high and lots of things I couldn't pronounce. So since then, I've really shifted to trying to buy things that have 5 ingredients or less, and all of them that I can pronounce. So they're probably only going to be 1 or 2 syllables, and they're not going to end in the word 8, because there's like polyphosphatate. Who knows what that is, right? So I'm looking at the fewer ingredients, the better. So because of these two trends, we have gotten ourselves into a kind of really bad place. And David Katz, who's the head of prevention at Yale University, says this may be the first generation of children who have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. And that should get your attention. That is crazy. We are living in America in the 21st century, this, advanced nation. But I'm here to tell you, it isn't a pretty picture. The CDC has actually lowered the life expectancy twice just recently. We're down to 74 years of age being the average life expectancy. That's crazy. And we actually, as a nation, are faring 35th as far as developed nations. We're behind Costa Rica. We're like the last in the developed nations as far as health outcomes go, and that includes infant mortality. So we are not doing well. And you can see by these stats that our kids are following, right? We have age 12, many of them have the hardening of arteries. 1 in 3 is obese. 1 in 3 are developing diabetes. We're taking prescription drugs, and they can treat children as young as 8 with statins. So this is not the childhood that I grew up in, and things have changed in a very, very quick manner. And with adults, we're not faring much better. So this is Dr. Bill Sears, and he's providing us with these statistics for adults. And I'm sure as you look around, you know somebody who is currently struggling with one of these ailments, or you yourself have struggled. But this is certainly probably not news to you, but pretty alarming. I mean, for me as a woman, I've already watched more like two hands worth of women my age diagnosed with cancer. One has died, one is currently dying, and the others have been fighting, right? They've gone through treatment and they're currently in remission. I mean, this is kind of a norm. I feel like we're the frogs in the water that, with frogs in water, they actually die, even though like they get put in water and it just gets heated slowly and more, heated slowly. And before you know it, it's boiling and they never hopped out because they just didn't see what happened. But we are here tonight because of the very last thing on the screen, what Bill Sears says, that 75% of all chronic disease is preventable. And I believe we can turn that around by taking healthy back, by deciding that we're going to do something different so we don't end up as one of those statistics. So I'm going to move into a little bit of education mode. Oxidative stress. You may or may not have heard that term thrown around. I know I had, but I wouldn't have been able to define it for you. I just knew it wasn't good. But I'm going to give you a real simple definition, and that is this, that it is the body's aging, basically inside and out. It's the aging of our bodies. You look at this apple, you cut open the apple, immediately what starts happening to the apple? It starts getting brown and getting soft, okay? That's the same thing going on in our bodies when it hits oxygen. That's what happens to the apple. Our bodies are the same way. It's interesting. Oxygen is life-giving to us, but it also burns us. It's like a two-edged sword, if you will. We need it to live, but in the very act of living, we create stress in our bodies. Good things and bad things create oxidative stress. So bad things, maybe smoking, drinking, eating poorly, but good things, being pregnant creates a lot of oxidative stress in your life. Exercising creates stress in your body. So what handles, we have oxidative stress just by living, but what is it that can counteract that? And that's antioxidants. So when you look at that apple, what can stop an apple from browning? When I was a girl, my mom always put lemon juice on the fruit salad that we were taking over to my grandma's. I never knew why she put lemon on it, but now I do know, because lemon juice is an antioxidant and it stops the browning of the apple. It's the same thing that happens in our body. Antioxidants are what we have been provided with to stop aging in our body. And where do we get antioxidants? We get them from plants, okay, which is awesome. So we do have some of those internally that we have, but everything else is coming from our diet. We can eat fruits and vegetables, and we know that those are super important, but today's produce is packing a much less nutritional punch, and there's two main reasons for that. The first one is soil depletion, and I could spend a lot of time going into that, but I don't have time tonight, but it's a very real issue. It also could be turned around, but a lot of it just has to do with greed. We have wanted to, grow more and do it more quickly and get it to people, and we haven't taken time to replenish our earth. And here's the reality, we're connected to the earth. We are from the earth. I mean, so when the earth is not replenished, then our plants end up diminished. And when the plants are diminished, then so too is everything we're getting. And it's all just a cycle, okay? So we are supposed to be eating now 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Unfortunately, this slide really shows us that even if we're getting a much less dense, nutrient-dense fruit or vegetable. National Institute of Health did a study where they freeze dry different vegetables and stuff, and they've kept them in freezers so that they can do studies on them. Well, they took, in 1997, they grabbed a freeze-dried spinach bowl and measured the different iron contents in 1953 versus 1997, and what they found is that you would actually have to eat 53 bowls of spinach to equal what was in the spinach in 1953, and that was in 1997, over 20 years ago. I don't even know if we could fit it all on the screen now. you guys, this is why we, even though we might even be eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, but we're not getting the nourishment that we used to. Our produce is anemic for many reasons. And some of that is, again, how we're doing the soil, and then also how we're picking our fruit. So this is something I really want you to understand, is that most of our fruit and vegetables are no longer vine ripened. Okay, so how many people have gone to the store and seen green bananas or hard peaches or hard avocados? I'm just thinking about some of the things I buy. And I've always thought, oh, I can just ripen those on my counter. Well, you can, but here's what we have found, that over 90% of the nutrition of the plant or of the fruit and vegetable goes into it 24 to 48 hours when it's ripening, the last 24 to 48 hours. So even if you ripen it on your counter, it wasn't connected to the vine to get all of that nourishment. And if you think of the fruit or vegetable as kind of the baby of the plant, if we think about our own babies, we know that keeping them in the womb full term is the very best. And every week that we deliver prematurely, we have less to go on, meaning more and more problems or complications. And so it's kind of the same thing. When we pick something early, it's not getting the nourishment it needed. Okay, so that's something really important to understand as well. So back in the 50s, late 50s, early 60s, the government saw that there was a problem even then. So they decided that they were going to try to create something from the food. So they developed vitamins. And at that time, they were looking at food and they thought there were only 12. So that's where your 12 essential vitamins and minerals comes from. Well, we know now, you can see on the screen, that there are so many more than 12, okay? So in a vitamin, you might have 12, 15, nowadays, maybe you can get 30, like essential vitamins and minerals, but they're isolated from all the other stuff that is in the food. They're, for most part, synthetic. They're made in a lab, and the body doesn't know what to do with them, versus your whole food. With your whole food, the body knows and has everything it needs to be able to have it work in the body. So take lycopene, for instance. You may have heard, if you're at all, like a health junkie like I am, that lycopene has been known to help fight prostate cancer. And everybody was excited about that. And they were trying to figure out how they're going to, have the lycopene pill for prostate cancer for men. But what they found is when they isolated lycopene, it didn't do anything against the cancer. Now in the tomato, all day long, it will help fight cancer. So eat tomatoes, absolutely. But lycopene on its own, no. And it's the same thing with every vitamin. We aren't meant to just consume that by itself. It needs lots of other things to turn on and turn off the right things in our body. So we know that vegetables and fruits and berries matter. In fact, they matter so much they keep increasing what we're supposed to eat. So now it's up to 7 to 13 a day. When I was growing up, it was a 5 a day. That was the motto. Now it's 7 to 13. And that's if you're just a normal person. If you are fighting disease, if you are pregnant and or you exercise, 16 to 20 is what you need. So I don't know about you, but the fact of trying to buy that produce, organic and vine ripened, and trying to store it before it goes bad and eat it and prepare it is just, that's a little bit overwhelming to me. And so what we have found is a product called Juice Plus. And this is it. If you look at this beautiful array and all the different things in here, your eye is just delighted at the whole palette of color. And so Juice Plus is been on the market for 25 years. It was developed by a doctor who was treating cancer by juicing. His own father was diagnosed with lymphoma and given 3 weeks to live. Dr. Smokey Centillo grabbed his dad out of the hospital, brought him to his office, and started to figure out how to juice and help him, really like last minute. I mean, this was like, a Hail Mary sort of thing. He decided he needed a more powerful juice. And so what he did was take the pits, the peels, and here's a side note, 80% of the vitamin C in your orange is in the peel. So he took the pits, the peels, the seeds, lots of stuff coming out about seeds right now, and the rinds and the greens, and he basically just took it all to make a more powerful juice, and then went ahead and dehydrated it and came up with these plant powders. He took that to his dad got better. He started feeding him these plant powders, and his dad ended up living over 6 more years, great quality of life, built a house. I mean, just an amazing story. And so Juice Plus was born after that. And as I said, it's been on the market 25 years. I want to share with you what sets us apart. There are 3 main things. The first one, and I don't know which one's most important. They're all so important. But the first one is that it is food, okay? So I have my capsules here, my lovely Juice Plus bottle. But if I turn it around, I'm going to see a supplement label. If you can see that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to see a supplement label. I'm going to see a nutrition label, okay? Because it's food. And if any of you have supplements in the back of your cupboard or in the front of your cupboard, go look and see what it says. It will say supplement. And a supplement is what we talked about. Our body really doesn't know what to do as well with supplements. Food, our body knows what to do with. So it is whole food. It has tons of those phytonutrients. It's non-GMO, dairy-free, and gluten-free. Second of all, it has an NSF certification. And what that means is huge. And this is so important because supplements are not regulated by the FDA. And they are finding more and more that they have toxins and all kinds of things in there that you will never know about because they're not regulated. They don't have to go through any testing. So unless you know the company personally and know the integrity, you really have no idea what is in your, I mean, it could be, who knows, it could be hay and straw, some sort of filler in there. But NSF, less than 1% of vitamin and mineral companies or supplements even bother getting this because it's very expensive and hard to keep. But Juice Plus has it and has had for over 20 years. And what that tells you is they are testing at every level around the production of this product to see that there are no toxins or pesticides, herbicides, fungus, mold, any of that. So that is peace of mind. And the final piece is the clinical research. There's over 35 published studies. And this is huge. Okay, I'm just going to be honest. Before I found Juice Plus, I mean, research, I'm like, research? I don't know. I would just like look on Amazon and read all the verified purchases. And if it was working for, you know, Gary in Indiana, I was like, okay, I'll try it. But I don't even know if those are real. Like, I think a lot of times they're not, but that's how I made my decision. But then I found out that Juice Plus has more research done on it than any other product in the world, and not done at some Juice Plus lab, but all around at really, really prestigious universities. So if you look through this, you're going to see MD Anderson, you're going to see Yale, you're going to see Georgetown. I mean, just really quality, quality places of study. So I want to tell you real quickly about one of my favorite studies. It was done by 3 cardiologists at the University of Maryland who knew that most heart attacks were happening at 4 to 6 hours after high-fat meal. So they took a group of people and they measured their vasoconstriction in their arteries right after eating a high-fat meal. And all of them, and that's in the first column there on the left of your screen, all of them had 50% or so constriction. So their body was working 50% harder after that high-fat meal. They sent them home, one group placebo, one group with our fruits and veggies, okay? And then one group with our fruits and veggies and berries. So they added on the berries. They brought them back 28 days later. They did nothing different. They just gave them Juice Plus. There's no new exercise program. There was no different change in diet, and they measured that vasoconstriction again. The placebo group had the same amount, which you would expect. The ones on the fruit and veggies had 68% less constriction after 1 month. And that would be amazing. I go home and be like, yes, get me the fruits and veggies. But then the ones that had the berries had 98% less constriction. Basically no constriction at all after 28 days of adding Juice Plus, these phytonutrients into their body. And what that says is when we do good to our body can work better and offset the bad that is just a part of the life that we live in, the toxins and the food quality that we deal with. So we also have our shakes, which are awesome. They are the best fast food we eat around here. We have them for breakfast. I have one every single day as a pudding bowl. They are the most delicious shake I have ever had, or pudding bowl. You can use them to make cookies, muffins, puddings, you name it, popsicles. It just is awesome. And they're vegan and non-GMO. They're gluten and dairy free, plant-based. So that's awesome. And they have another 15 plants in them. And they have powerful prebiotic fibers. And I want to just add a little note there. We're all have heard about taking probiotics, right? But more and more is coming out that fruit and vegetables are actually your best probiotics. And so when we actually feed our gut good probiotics from fruit and vegetables, We don't need a probiotic. If we are just eating a good, healthy, living diet, the need for, daily dosing ourselves with probiotics would not be necessary. And finally, we have our omegas, which are awesome. They're also plant-based. We don't use fish because fish, number one, are toxic. Number two, it's not sustainable. It takes 4 to 5 pounds of fish to make 1 ounce of oil, and the rest of the fish are just thrown away. And so Juice Plus said, you know what, we're going to bypass the fish because there is no omega in any animal. All animals that have omegas get them from plants. So we went straight to the plants. And there is more research coming out. I just saw a research study yesterday by Michael Greger, who is a prominent doctor, and he just shared that he recommends an omega supplement, a plant-based omega supplement for anyone because they're showing that it actually prohibits the brain from shrinking. It slows down the shrinking of the brain. Our brain is shrinking from the time we're 20 until the time we die, but we can actually slow that down. And the next question is that connected to Alzheimer's and dementia? They haven't been able to share that link yet, but the fact that it's slowing down brain health is enough for me to say, yes, get me some omegas. That's a simple thing that I can do. And the great thing is Juice Plus is affordable. There are a lot of different ways you can get started, but I want to share with you that kids are free on Juice Plus. As long as an adult is taking it, a child can take it for free. So we spend a lot of money on some bad habits. Maybe you have the latte habit, who knows? But Juice Plus is the ability for us to actually take some prevention and spend it on something good. And I want to end with this, that there is nothing available anywhere else in the world, prescription or not, that is proven to do what Juice Plus does in the body. And that was said by Dr. Richard Dubois, which is one of the first of thousands of doctors who has jumped on board and is sharing Juice Plus with their patients because they have seen how powerful it is and know the research and feel like they have to be able to share. So at this point, I am going to stop sharing my screen. And Jennifer, Ansel, if you want to unmute yourself and just share a little bit about your Juice Plus story, that would be awesome.
My Juice Plus story is kind of brief. So I've only been taking it for a little while. And honestly, I first got started with it back when Jenny recommended it to me, and I had a leg injury at the time and was out of work for a few days. And so what she was telling me just kind of made sense, that there was nutrients and I needed nutrients to heal. I needed nutrients to decrease the inflammation. I was kind of worried about how long it was going to take me to heal, because they were saying anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months with the injury that I had. And I didn't know what that meant, like, heal completely so that, I could run again, because, runners get that injury. It wasn't my case, but I just didn't know what that meant. So, and since I hate vegetables, for the most part, it just seemed like a good way for me to get nutrients in that I wouldn't normally get. And so I started taking it, and then, I got back to work. But at that time, I got back to another job. So I was working 2 jobs and kind of fell off taking the Juice Plus for a couple months. And I could feel a difference, just the inflammation. And I could just feel soreness kind of all over my body, just more so than normal. So I kind of started taking it again, or I shouldn't say kind of, sort of. I started taking it again right around the time that Jenny convinced me to go to a meeting with her. And at that meeting, I just heard so much that made just complete sense. And the part that I really liked, though, was the scientific research part of it. I just really like that aspect, that this product is totally backed by sound research that you can look up. It's available for everybody to see, and that doctors recommend it, and just that, virtually everybody needs this product. It's, whether you're a child or an adult, or, elderly, or, you're healthy and you're exercising, or you're not so healthy like me and you're not exercising enough. I mean, I need this product, and I just saw a need, just a widespread need for people. And so I got my mom on the product because she suffers from a lot of ailments as she's, aging quickly. So.
Well, Thank you, Jennifer. I love that it just made sense to you. Like it does. And I love that you said, I mean, there's really nobody that cannot benefit from it. We just learned this past weekend there was a wonderful doctor and surgeon who specializes in breast health. She came to St. Louis to speak to us. And one of the things I took away is that she said that Juice Plus has been proven to reduce oxidative stress. It's been proven to reduce oxidative stress by 75% in our bodies. So we went over what oxidative stress was, which was the aging of our bodies. It's also a pillar or a foundation of every single disease out there. So if you could reduce oxidative stress in your body by 75%, you know, like that to me is a no-brainer. So I just love what you shared about the research because, you know, research is convincing. It really is. And when it's duplicated over and over again, it's, you know, start to pay attention to that. So Jenny, Terry, can you unmute yourself? And I'd love to hear you
Yes.
share tonight.
Yeah. So, yeah, like Julie was saying at the beginning of the presentation about the ingredients, I've always been an ingredient girl, and really, I knew that a long time ago of just trying to get like good products, and yeah, so I really tried to pay close attention to that, and I did know the importance of food and nutrition, and I really tried to even trying to make an attempt to really pay attention to that. I would even chase down, you know, out here in Hillsborough by where I live, I'd go to the farmers and all of that, but it was still, I'd go in phases. Sometimes I would do it, sometimes I wouldn't. So for me, that's where Juice Plus kind of felt like that assurance, you know, to get that. But when I became pregnant, that's when it really became a priority. And when my daughter was born, you know, I did preventative care my whole pregnancy. And then when she was born, you know, I fed her really, really good. I didn't give her any sugar. And we both, you know, went to the chiropractor together, and she was still getting sick. So that was really disappointing. And the chiropractor told me that she's not eliminating enough. So she really honed in on that and said that until she gets that going properly, she will get sick. And at one point I even kind of thought, is she delayed? I felt like she might have been kind of behind. And that's another thing that Chiro told me. She said, you know, as soon as we get her gut moving, you're going to notice a difference. So she did put her on probiotics and digestive enzymes. Another thing Julie was talking about, I like that you touched on that, because when I started her on that probiotic, I did see a little difference after a couple months of it. But then, yeah, we went through a phase where she was throwing up too. So it was, and when I started doing a little more research on that, yeah, I just wasn't as comfortable having her on that long term. And like Julie said, you can get it from the food. So it was a no-brainer for me when Andy shared it with me, and I started having my daughter and I take it. And I went over to a friend's house that, you know, she had I was helping her with some kiddos, and basically those kids all had a cough. There was 5 kids, they had coughs. Sorry guys, let me get her another piece of this apple. And basically, you know, we were there for 5 days, and for once Jocelyn didn't get sick. So that right there was enough for me. And then just real quick, you know, I noticed on like, I think it was around month 2 for me, I quit with sugar. So that was a huge one. When I got pregnant, I became completely just sugar addict. So that was a huge one for me. So yeah, thank you so much, you guys.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jenny, for sharing. I love your story, and I just love how quickly you saw changes in your daughter. I mean, kids are resilient. I think sometimes adults might take a little longer because it's taken us longer to walk into our holes that we've dug for ourselves. Children have not dug those big holes yet, and the quicker we can help them, which is why I love the Children's Health Study Program, which is how I found out about Juice Plus. And I'm going to share just super briefly about that. My son, I've had a passion for nutrition. You probably can tell from this call. So I have loved nutrition for a long time and really thought I knew a lot, but I had a son who was diagnosed with severe asthma. When I say severe, he was hospitalized 4 times. And the last time was in the pediatric intensive care unit. The doctor was sharing with me that we would have to put him on daily steroids. And in my research, I wasn't thrilled with that solution for my 4-year-old. Daily steroids may help the problem, but here's what we've become. And I want you to really listen here, because what we have become as a people are symptom managers. We're really good at managing our symptoms. And doctors are really good at helping us manage our symptoms by giving us pharmaceutical drugs or whatever to manage our symptoms. And I'm not saying that sometimes we need to take those for a temporary period and maybe even longer, but we rely on those as crutches. Meanwhile, our symptoms may be taken care of, but underneath here, the trouble that caused the symptoms is never being addressed. It's still brewing, and our body is sinking deeper into the hole that we were already in. So I learned about Juice Plus right at that time, and because it was free for my child, somebody sponsored him and we started taking Juice Plus. And instead of daily steroids, we chose daily fruits and vegetables. And it's been over 2 years since Elijah's been hospitalized. He is a strong, thriving young man, and I would not tell you that he is asthmatic. So that was enough for me to start looking at the product. And so I would just share with you that every single day we have a choice. We're either fueling our body for disease or we're fueling our body for health. Every day we're walking towards one direction or the other. And so I feel like Juice Plus is an easy, simple way to keep ourselves in the health column every day, no matter what other food that we are bringing into our bodies. And so at this point, I just want to invite you to do one of three things. And the first one is to go eat more fruits and vegetables and eat locally if you can. Find a farmer's market, find a local farm that you know they're vine ripened and they're not sprayed. Or maybe something resonated here with you. And if that's the case, get with the person who invited you, get with Jennifer and talk to her about that. Or maybe you're thinking somebody you know needs to hear this. You know someone who's sick, or you think that this could benefit. Please connect us to them as well. We would love to talk with them. So at this point,